Okay, let me show you an easy way to pull a pump out of a transmission. This is a special transmission pump puller. If you don't have one of these, I'm going to show you an easier way. This just goes here, pull it out. But you can pull these out by using two of the bolts that went back in there. Just kind of set them in there and you can pick any hole. This tool right here, just kind of put pressure on them like that, pulls it straight out. You put some pressure here too. Not like that, pull it straight out of there. So this transmission didn't have overdrive. 1, 2, 3 neutral. Let's see what's wrong with it. Okay, so to the side here. Just as I suspected. It's very common. These over. Very common for the snap ring to come off of the sprag here. There's an updated snap ring. Let me show you. Sonex makes this. It is a piece. You put this one here, and then this one here is a spiral snap ring update. This one is Sonex, but as you can see, it's way, it goes here, and then when you put it back on, you crimp them. We're going to do this later. We're going to clean everything up first, but I just wanted to show you that. Very common. This thing didn't have any overdrive. Overdrive band looks a little burnt. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. To the side, these don't look bad. And this little clip is the anti-rattle clip. This goes in between the intermediate clutches here. If you need help knowing where this goes, just message me. This thing here. See what this bad boy is made out of. Okay, the clutches aren't burnt, but they are flaking off. These clutches are old. Kind of like keep them together if I can. And always check this thing to make sure the snap ring groove didn't blow out. A lot of times they blow out and you got to replace this, which I replace this on every build anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Input drums are kind of known to going out. Make sure these splines are good. These are good. All right. That's fine. Make sure there. And when you're putting this one in here, when you're putting this back together, this washer, it's easier for you to put it upside down. That's upside down. That's not how it goes. It'll break. You got to put it like this. It looks like you're putting it upside down, but that's how it goes. And this is a 2005 model, so this has both input and output sensors that it reads off of. These two holes here. Now, if you rebuild this thing and you need to replace this shell and you put it all steel one in here, it's not going to read through that sensor. This is a non-ferrous metal, so this is non-magnetic. Let me show you. A little trick. See here. See, this is the magnet right here, my magnet, and this is a piece of metal here, as you can tell. This is not magnetic at all. And if you put a shell in here, let me see if I got one. I got one. This is a metal shell, okay? If your case does not have this hole, it takes a metal one. This is magnetic. You can tell it sticks to it. Okay, it'll work as the part, it's the right size and everything, but it has to be non-ferrous if it has an input sensor. So make sure that if you're building this thing, you got to replace this thing. If these teeth are bad, you got to replace this shell. Buy the right shell, because it won't shift out of first or second gear. I can't remember. I've had that problem before with a builder, and ended up being that. So something to look for. Make sure you can see this. Okay. All right, there's a snap ring in here I'm going to take out. All right. Let's put some more light on the situation here. Should be a little better. Snap ring in here. A lot of times you can just grab it. I got these. Usually I don't use gloves, but I don't want to touch the camera. So we'll use right here. I'll take that out there. And remember where that end went, because it only goes one way. And if you put the snap ring on wrong, it'll fit. If the opening isn't right here, you won't be able to get this sensor in, this input sensor. This will be blocking it. So the input sensor has to be right here, not right this. It won't go in. You'll have to take the pump back out and pull everything back out to move this. So this is important. A lot of times I'll just kind of grab it and pull. After I get the anti-clunk spring out, and what I just took out there is the anti-clunk spring. If older ones have a round spring, this one here has this one, a little wedge type. So I always like to make sure this thing turns. Sprag's good. Always check your teeth and your bushing. Always replace your bushings when you're building that. I ripped this glove and put another one on real quick. Just for the sake of filming, can't be touching the camera. All right. Reverse band. Doesn't look bad, but it gets replaced. Actually, it does look bad. If you can see here, always check right here. All the material is coming off right here. Direct drum. This always gets replaced on a build, no matter what. Even if I think it might look okay, I replace them, because they're brand new for like 50 bucks. I mean, they're cheap enough. Why wouldn't you? This is a major failure point. Good. I have to grab it like that. This is your up shaft. Everything looks good. The only thing wrong with this thing is it had an overdrive problem. So these are the one-piece type. There's a split type, the orange ones you can use in replacement of these if you want. I like these better. And when you put these on, you can just use this tool here to size it up. You don't need a special tool to size that up because it's beveled here. That's how you got it. Let's see what the pump looks like. First thing I always look at in the pump is check these grooves in here. Let me see if you can see that. Yeah. Always like to check these grooves, make sure it's not worn out, make sure the landings on the input didn't ruin this bushing in here. So now, and you can pull this out. I can pull that ladder. Let's see here. Gotta replace this glove line. I check. Make sure this is smooth. There's no grooves here. This looks clean. Looks like a real good transmission here. Nothing wrong with this stator. Always check the stator for, you know, a lot of times it gets worn out right here and it'll cut you. And just make sure that it fits good on this drum here. Make sure these bushings are nice and tight and clean. Always replace them. Looks good. And this pump here. So when I check a pump, I like to grab it here and here and check right here and right here to see how much play you got. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but this one here has a little play in it. So when you replace these new and you do this, it has no play, it's nice and tight. This will decrease line pressure. You can definitely reuse it. I'll probably at least replace the pump gears. And make sure you put this in there. On this side there's a little groove for the converter. Remember, that side always goes towards the converter. Just like that. Goes in there like that. Nothing wrong with this pump. Alright. That's it. Everything's good in here.